One would never know by looking at this small boy that Tom was a rascal with his hidden treasure trove. They all thought he was just a small boy with growing pains and issues. It was the 1880s, the Missouri River. Tom and his band of gypsy are out on the land and in the sun. After wrestling in the mud with the boys in his Sunday best, he knew he couldn't go home. His Aunt Polly would kill him for sure. After spending the better part of the day mending and ironing his Sunday clothes. Yet there he was, hungry as a polecat in need, starving. So he ended up at the front door like a barn cat in search of shelter, and she gave it to him, yelling and screaming at how irresponsible he was for hours. She decided to teach him a lesson. A little whitewashing the fence wouldn't hurt anyone, never mind a 10-year-old boy with ambitions. But Tom was lazy. Lazy to a fault. He didn't mind the punishment, just the work. So he convinced all his friends at what an honor it would be to paint his aunt's fence, to give it 2 coats so it would last a lifetime. It would be such an honor to the community to be remembered as such. And the winner would gain access to a Bible. The winner. After they learned all their verses for Sunday school. Huck and Black Jim went through everything together. Even though Jim was an escaped slave, Huck saw no color. Jim was like a big, brighter, older brother, the protector, part of the family he never had. To Jim, Huck was this free spirit just like him, always getting into trouble, running without a home. He was tired of always being on the run every day of his life for no reason. They were the best of friends. Color had nothing to do with it. So they wrote an oath, a blood oath. We all stick together, brothers in arms. If anybody does anything to one of our members, we was ordered to boot them, which is the sign of the band sticking together. And it was all kept a secret lest anyone get any ideas. And if anyone breaks the secret, we have to throw them out and must have their reputations tarnished, and their name be blotted off the list and never be mentioned ever again. So there we were, Tom, Jim, Becky, Mary, Jonna, and Sydney, brothers, sisters, and etc. A band together through thick and thin forever. Tom got most of this out of pirate and robber books. But what are we going to do about Tom Sawyer? He ain't got no family? Well, he does have a father. I think they let him out of prison. But you'll never find him because he is always drunk as a skunk. So it wasn't fair to be in the club because you had to have a family. So Tom offered up his beloved turtle. You could surrender him. He'll do, they all thought. So they stuck a pin in their fingers and made their pirate blood oath for libel, robbery, and such. They was a band together for always now. So Tom thought it would be great if they went steady. Only problem was, Tom was already going steady with another. Becky reminded him of this small detail. Privately, she thought boys had cooties, and she could never touch a boy being so dirty. That they were fine for racking up leaves or painting fences, maybe paddling downstream. But by the end of the day, she preferred speaking to her woman friends. That she could go on like weaving a tapestry endlessly and forever. Tom wanted to carry her books home from school. They would chat for hours while doing nothing so well. He wondered to himself if she liked him. They would go bike riding to distant towns for the day, rock skipping on the Mississippi, to see who could make them skip the most. Well, at least it beat going to school in mathematics. They were having the best of summer together. After the third day, Huck wondered. He asked her if she liked him. She was a firecracker tomboy if I ever heard one. A good one for the old Huck. She could fish better than any of us, let on like a sailor, play us all a wee bit being a girl, with her sweet charms if she wanted, yet we never knew if we were coming or going. But most of all, we laughed a lot with her, so Tom happened to like Becky, but he never knew exactly why. So he joined a church to get close to her as much as it peeved him, hating religion and such. But he couldn't help himself. But by then, being homeless, Peggy Sue got tired of Tom living out on the land, being so reckless. A real free bird if she ever saw one, getting rained on all the time, having critters crawling over everything, the mildew, and living the life of a hobo. A weekend was fine, but every day, she asked the church to let him sleep in an old back room without heat because they had more money than Jesus. We're doing just fine. So for the first 6 months, until winter settled in. As long as Huck promised to take care of them by cutting the lawns, keeping critters out, painting a fence or two, and all was well. But, after Tom found out they were so special that they are only opened on Sundays when they could be helping people all week long, that they had all that going on, he didn't like that one bit. The thought of being better than sitting on them like a fat ogre preaching the almighty like they got it going on, not paying any taxes, that they had an advantage. The nerve of it all, he thought. Telling people what to do, who to vote for when the state already supported their enterprises. All of this high-fluting fear on Sundays with the wrath of God. He never realized that churches had a lot of power and were telling people how to think and their causes. They told us who they should talk to, who we should hang out with, their color, what books to read, what books they should never read. Like they never heard of the separation of church and state. That we was all equals under God. When really they wanted it all. So we decided to fight it and got evicted by saying no. Huck couldn't be no hypocrite. So here we was on the river once again. Me and the fishes and riverboat queens. And our buddy Jim just free as a bird, and that was all there was to it. In the 1880s, Black Jim's freedom was always fighting to be free and get away, while everyone is hunting for black slaves who escaped. Tom's efforts are worthy even though he is injured, but Jim is captured again while trying to get a doctor for Tom. Tom reveals that Jim's former owner, Miss Watson, freed Jim in her will. Tom gives Jim $400 to compensate for being held and captured. Tom seems to be beyond reform. Huck opts out of society in his desire to go to Oklahoma into Indian territory, and the other adults are left in compromised positions. Jim is the only character who comes out of the mess looking like a respectable adult, and finally free. Karma has its day. It seems Tom can't get nothing right but the seasons or the time of day. After all of these years of helping Tom flee from the law, good old Jim wins a scholarship to a prestigious college where he letters up in his class to where he wins it all, starting a business and hiring dear old Tom to stay out of trouble. Life is grand and ironic, isn't it?